But in America, and it was funny, I was just recently in an interview or had an opportunity to do a luncheon with Warren Buffett, and he was just saying that, this is the greatest country to be born in. This is the greatest time, to be born, in this particular country, social media, economics, just opportunity. So, I'm the American dream. I represent, what so many people from my community represent, a mom who had me out of wedlock, pregnant at 17 years old. My grandmother kicked her out, not because she didn't love her, but my grandmother kicked her out because she had 14 kids and a two. When I say the American dream, you're talking about not just my generation, but my mother, trying to finish high school and getting a job in Detroit working for Ford Motor Company. So the journey started with my mom, and I took it from my mom to an entrepreneur. But I eventually dropped out of high school. I was homeless for about 2.5 years, and through education, I think is where I got my turnaround. I'm not saying degrees. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going to school and really learning how to identify my craft, how to hone in on my craft, and how to sharpen that craft. I like school just because, it's a safe place. You got breakfast, you got lunch. You have to worry about, certain things happening when you're in school. Your friends, the social life was great. We're out here making this money and you're going to school for what? What are you going, you're not doing anything. You're not going to Harvard, you're not going to Yale, you're not even going to community college with your grades. So you just need to just quit and let it go. I start getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like, you're going to have to get up a little bit earlier because you didn't finish school. You didn't take care of your business. Can't get up the same time another man who gets up, who handle his business. And so for me, it was like, you got to discipline yourself. You might have the same experience they had, so you just got to discipline yourself. I do vegan most of the time, and I tell people all the time, I love fried chicken. I love macaroni and cheese. I love a lot of dessert. But in my family, it's diabetes. So it's like, if you do what they do, then you're going to get the results they got. But if you want to be with Dee Dee for the next 30, 40 years, and you want to be able to walk, I want to be able to walk at 60, at 70. I want to be independent at 80 if I can be. So I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices now. I just feel like your gifts will make room for you. And when you're trying to be somebody else, you block your gifts. You block your opportunity. So you don't see me trying to throw a football. You don't see me trying to, put a basketball in a hoop. You see me speaking. You see me serving, helping kids get their GED. I blew up with teaching a GED class. That's how I became famous. And people always ask me, why'd you start there? I can psychologically tell you how to get prepared for a GED. And then the GED went to, can you help kids stay in college? So I did that in college. And before you know it, because here you are with an opportunity to get a 4-year degree and you playing and you doing partying and doing stuff that maybe other kids have an opportunity to do because they got a net to fall back on. You don't have a net. So man, I went off. So for me, my gift has made room for me. Every time I talk, every time I speak, every time I educate, doors open. So man, stop looking at the Joneses might be good at what they're doing, or the grass might be green on the other side, but it means somebody's keeping up with it. They watering, they cutting it. It didn't get green like that on his own. For some of you, the next level is just accepting that you belong there. Like forgetting your past, forgetting where you come from, not worrying about what you think you don't have yet. Just relax and you belong there. So the next meeting after, they trained me and we talked, the next call was like, yo, E, what you doing tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know, what's up? He was like, Warren Buffett's coming to town. I'm only inviting 30 people to come and I want you to be one of them. I'm like, I'm there. This one, you got to catch this one. There's a reason why I'm in this room, and I'm not the 4th richest person in the world, but I must be rich at something. I just don't know what it is. But I have to be a billionaire in an area, because if I wasn't a billionaire in the area, they wouldn't have attracted me. So I'm looking like, those malls you go to with the Louis and the Prada and my man sitting there, he was the dude that owned those. And then I would watch the game, the Cleveland Cavaliers game, and he would be sitting next to Dan at every game. They all own property, billions of dollars worth of property. And I started doing my homework and I was like, ooh, I see what they don't have though. While they have money and they do business, they don't have the human experience. And I want you to tell me briefly, you can go home and do the rest later, what would it take for you to be a legend at what you do? Emmett Smith said, all men are created equal. Some work harder in preseason. I'm gonna say it again because you might have missed it. All men are created equal. All men are created equal. Some work hard in preseason. When I went to college, guys were way smarter than me. 4.0s, 3.0. They went to the Ivy League high schools, came to Oakwood from these great high schools. Most of them are not doing what I'm doing. Why? Because it's not about where you come from.
It's about hearts. You come to a place where, being smart ain't enough. You gotta have hearts. That's number one. Watch number two. To be able at any moment to sacrifice what you are for what you will become. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die. I'm saying to you today that there are some of you, if you give up your cell phone, you would be successful. But your cell phone is more important to you than your success. Some of you need to give up your cell phone because the time you spend on your cell phone could be used for your success.
Mom got pregnant with me at 17, didn't really start talking to my father until I was 30. The whole nine. Homeless, sleeping in the abandoned buildings. And my guy and CJ, man, we built this company from, I don't know if we had 50 cents, no cents, I don't know. Like we would go to these major cities and these guys that I was with, like they were like, theology majors and they would like speak at these different places and I wasn't good enough. So I would speak at like the flea markets. Somebody spoken to me when I was about 17 years old and they literally sleep in abandoned buildings, not taking showers, eating out of trash cans. They were like, yo, you got something. So he helped me get my GED, sent me out to college. His name was P.C. Willis. He was a pastor at a local church that I kind of went to every now and then with one of my homeboys. And it was just unbelievable. He helped me get my GED, sent me 780 miles away from Detroit. And I just got in a new environment in college. And once I got there, I was just like, I was so grateful that I had to pay it forward. So I was like, yo, what this guy did for me, I've got to do unto others.
Well, my turning point was the ability to connect with people, in a way that was, unusual. And it just seems like when you've been there and you've done that, people from all walks of life have the ability to connect with you in a way that's, just unbelievable. So I think it was that. It was the way the crowds not only listened to me, but what they did afterwards. So one day you're gonna want options. One day you're not gonna be a teenager. One day you wanna drive a certain car, live in a certain neighborhood, or maybe even break a cycle in your family. And without an education, it's impossible. So what I do that a lot of people don't do is I give them a why. What's the reason? Why do you wake up? Why do you study? Why do you do English? Why do you do math? And when they're able to see, ooh, math isn't about math, but it's about my future. English isn't about English, but it's about my future. When they can make that connection and they can begin with the end in mind, wow, they actually take on school in ways that they've never done it before. But once they can get it,
I don't believe in the word procrastination. Like, I don't really believe in that word. I told a young lady in Australia who told me she was a procrastinator. I said, look, if I told you to meet me here tomorrow at 5 a.m. and I'm gonna give you $3 million, where would you be? She said, I'm gonna be right there at 4:59, ready to get that $3 million. And I said, so then there's no such thing as procrastination. What it is it's not important to you, right? It's not meaningful to you. It's not something that's urgent to you. And when something is not urgent, you put it off. So yep, you're in school, yes, you probably are getting grades, etc. But if it's not meaningful to you, if it's not important to you, then you're not gonna make it a priority. So what you have to do is find out, how can you make it meaningful? How can you make it purposeful? How can you make it stick? And when you can find that out, I promise you, you'll get up early, you'll get there first, and you'll do whatever it takes to make that goal a reality. So for me, no such thing as procrastination. It's a such thing as it's not a priority to you.